Hey YouTubers and air gunners, Irish Air Gunner coming at you with some information on air systems. A lot of people that I shoot with wonder where I get my air from, and it's pretty simple for me. Fortunately, because of my career, it's an easy access. When you run with PCPs, you know, they eat a lot of air. Most people use the pumps, but once you get up into air guns that are shooting, you know, at 3,000 psi fill, shooting the velocities of 1,100 feet per second, you're going to burn through the air and the pump's not going to work. For me, I shoot, my family shoots, so I have 4 or 5 people shooting PCPs, and the pump system just wasn't going to work. When I first got my Discovery, I went out and got a SCUBA tank, and the Discoveries are really great because they fill them up to 2,000 psi. Your SCUBA tank fills at 3,000 psi, so that gives you 1,000 psi to play with, and only with a 173 cc reservoir that the Discovery has, and you can get 200 fills off of one SCUBA tank. But when you get into the Marauders, you get into the Air Arms S510s, you're talking 3,000 psi, you're just not going to get it. You're just not going to, you'll get 1 or 2 fills and then you'll be bottoming out. So there's a lot of options when you go with the high pressure air. And I'm going to show you my system on how it works for me. This is a system that I use. It's a Scott air pack. It's made by Scott. It's designed for being a firefighter SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus. These tanks are made by Scott, and they're made to the highest standards because of the NFPA, National Fire Protection Agency standards, and they have a 15-year firefighting life. So basically, I've done a lot of research, and when they state firefighting life, they mean under high stress, high temperatures. So a lot of people that I've talked to said as long as they pass the hydro testing every 5 years, and you don't overfill them, and that you monitor them for any kind of cracks, you'll get a good service life out of them. Me personally, I would take them maybe to 20 years. I would take them past their 5 years. But these bottles I have now, I have 4 bottles, and the oldest is 13 years, and the newest one I have is 11 years. Why I like the air packs are made under federal standards, not only OSHA but NFPA. So they're set to military specifications too. So I think personally their constructions is a little bit more constringent than a civilian tank or something that you would buy off the tank market. When you look at the tanks, inside of the tank it obviously has Scott. Scott makes contracts out and they get their tanks from 2 companies. They get them from SCI, which is Structural Composite Industries, and they also get them from Luxfer. Luxfer is one of the oldest and most reputable tanks of SCUBA. They make SCUBA tanks and various other tanks. So Luxfer is an awesome tank, as well as SCI. They're all made to the same specifications. When you look at the SCBA bottles, it'll tell you right on the top if it's a 30-minute bottle, a 45-minute bottle, or if it's a 60-minute bottle. And you also it comes with your weight, it comes with your maximum test pressure. When they test these, they test them at 7,500 psi. And it tells you the volume of cubic inches. That's a 285 cubic inch tank. So we were saying this is a 30-minute bottle. It says up on the top, 30 minutes. And with it being 30 minutes, your volume is 285 cubic inches. Now, I called Scott and got the data and talked to one of their engineers. A 30-minute bottle is 45 cubic feet, or 283 or 85 inches. A 45-minute bottle is 65 cubic feet and 418 cubic inches. The 60-minute bottle is 87 cubic feet and 550 cubic inches. This would be the same bottle that you would find as an Air Hog or one from Pyramid Air. That's what they sell. They sell the larger 87 cubic foot or 550 cubic inch tank. A SCUBA tank is 80 cubic feet, 677 cubic inches. But the difference between these bottles and carbon fiber bottles compared to SCUBA is these carbon fibers are 4,500 psi, whereas a SCUBA tank is 3,000 psi. This holder I made out of an old bag that I rummaged from the garbage. It's an old medical bag. What we basically did with it was I have it zipped up so that way I have it on two different ways. So it can be carried in this position as a carry to the range thing, and when I lay it down sideways, it becomes a air delivery system. Unzip it, and this holder is basically nothing but old scrap plywood, old scrap pieces of wood from a pallet, which I made. I got a 6-inch PVC pipe, cut it to length, and cut it to about a 270-degree circumference so that I have enough to get the air bottle out. The only thing I didn't do was put padding or a piece of carpet on the inside to keep the bottle from shifting. I made this whole bag and the whole holder out of scrap. It cost to me was about $2 in Gorilla Glue. And there's a picture of the holder without the air bottle. When I was looking for air tanks, like I said, I went with the SCUBA tank, but it really started running out of air once you get into the Discoveries and getting into air arms and other high air guns. So I looked at getting a commercial air hog or commercial carbon fiber tank, and they are very good tanks, and they are very good, and they're a little bit pricey. For me, I'm on a budget. I have a family. I can't go out and spend $600, $700, $800 for a tank. I'd rather invest that money into a scope, a gun, and rather do that when there's other options. The SCBA tank has all the things that you need for air gunning. It has a valve with a pressure gauge, a 4,500 psi fill gauge, as you can see on there. This tank is full. It has the on-off knob, which turns the airflow on. I built this custom designed regulator system from spare parts and from parts I got at a local hydraulics shop. You have to have a special fitting to go onto the SCBA cylinder, which I'll show you when I take it off. It's a standard piece that comes out with a 1/4 inch male thread, standard NPT. All I did was got a T for $1.78 at a hydraulic shop, a high pressure rated. I ordered a 6,000 psi pressure gauge, which is approximately $15, and $7 for the rubber housing. This is a piece that I found. This is a airflow valve. What this does is it turns the flow on and off. So I can leave my main air tank on. As you can see, it has a simple valve with the air pressure gauge. And how my system works is first you have to make sure that the airflow is off and the bleed valve is shut. When you turn the air tank on, as you push in, you can see it has a safety catch. That's so you don't turn your tank on inadvertently. Push it in and twist. Since these air valves, the bleeder valve and the airflow are off, we're only going to be able to have air coming out of the yoke into this T, shut off here, and it will pressurize the gauge. $4,000 psi. This Marauder is sitting right now at about 2,500 psi. I fill mine at 2,900, even though they say 3,000. The sweet spot in this gun is about 2,800 to 2,400 psi. So I try to stay in there for accuracy. So to fill up the gun, it's real simple. Everybody's seen the videos on how to fill up a Marauder. Unscrew the dust cap and simply insert the quick connect. Inserting the quick connect is put the Foster on until you hear the pop. Once we have the pop, we're secure. Our pressure gauge is at 4,000. The next step that we want to do is we want to open our airflow. When you open your airflow, you're going to turn it to the left to open. Now at this point we don't watch the pressure gauges, we watch the pressure on the gun. So as we simply open it, Listen for the pop. Pop. And we slowly pressurize our gun to the 2900 mark. We shut it down. Once we shut it down, come back up, open your bleeder valve, and then we disconnect the phosphor fitting. And we are completely ready to go. Put our dust cover back on. And our gun is fully pressurized and ready to shoot. The one nice thing about my system is now you can leave your airflow on. Your airflow is on. You're showing 4,000 psi. Your bleeder valve is closed. If you have multiple shooters, all you have to do is come in and connect to another rifle as it's connected. Turn on some airflow. And you're flowing in. And you shut it down. As you shut it down and you bleed, disconnect the rifle and you can leave the system up all day without turning off your air supply system. Once you're done shooting for the day, or you want to shut your system off, you simply just push the button, push in, push connect, and shut your air system off. Once your air system is shut off, you'll still be pressurized until you open up the bleed off valve. Now, using the airflow system, since there's no rifle attached, you just bleed your system down to 0. Changing this bottle is really simple. If you were looking in my bag, you found an adjustable wrench, and that's the reason why I keep one there. All you have to do is simply attach this and disconnect. One turn, and it's hands-free. And the system is completely disconnected. And your bottle can be taken out and refilled, topped off, or exchanged with a fresh bottle. Inside my range bag, I carry a bipod, some pellets, my cam mount, range finder, camera, staple guns, staples, and various things I need. Plus, I also carry some other additional parts with me. I carry a backup regulator system. This system doesn't have a gauge. This system's different than the other one. This system just basically connects to the bottle. You have your bleeder screw and a 10-inch disconnect hose to your rifle. So once you connect to your rifle, instead of having a flow valve here, you have to use the air bottle to fill up your gun. It's not as safe and it's not as accurate, but if you crack it slowly, it's no different than using a standard commercial tank which you would buy from various companies on the internet. And once you're done, you're connected, you open the bleeder valve, bleed it off, and you can disconnect. I also carry a extension hose. This is an 18-inch extension hose. People always say, why do you go with such a short hose on a filler? Because a longer hose would be more easier to connect to your gun. However, but if you look, all this air in here to the bleeder valve will be wasted. Once you fill your gun, you bleed this off, you're losing all the air from here the whole way. If you're shooting a gun such as the Discovery, you only have 173 cc reservoir. And if you look at the tubes, with an 18-inch gauge, with an 18-inch hose, with the T-valve, you're looking at approximately 40 to 50 cc's of air. So if your gun holds 170 and you're bleeding off 50, you're using almost 1/4 of your air in bleed off. So if you would say get 200 fills using that same bottle and system, you would only get 150 once you can, or 150, 155 fills once you consider how much air that you're bleeding off. That's why I go with a shorter hose. I took off the 18-inch hose and I use a 10-inch hose, and I have my fill increase by 5 or 6 on my Marauder. So I'm saving 5 or 6 fills by going with the shorter hose. Also, we talked about the SCUBA tanks. This is another system that I have to fill a SCUBA tank. We have a female connection hose off the side of the compressor unit. So what we do is we plug the female end into this, which charges this air, and there's a valve which we turn. You connect this valve to your SCUBA tank, open your SCUBA tank, and you fill it. Since your SCUBA tank doesn't have a pressure valve, we utilize this. Even though the pressure might be up to 6,000 coming off of the feed line, once you bleed it and gate it and shut it down, you'll watch your gauge go up to 500, 1,000, 2,000, and when it hits the 3,000 mark, you shut it down and let it settle, and you titrate it with just short turns to get it to 3,000. This is another unit that I built. I bought this yoke filler with a bleed valve off eBay for $18, free shipping. A double male connector, which I paid $1 for. Another $2 T. This part, if you go with the commercial cascade system, with the commercial systems that they put in, they want $21 for this piece. It's nothing but a crossover hydraulic high pressure piece that cost me $5 at the hydraulic shop. And also the the gauge cost me another $15. So I have approximately $45 invested into building this, which commercially I could have bought from a SCUBA store for about $149. So that's another way to cut costs and get the same quality. These pieces are all rated, UL rated, and they're the same thing that they use to build the commercial parts. They're just not as shiny, and they don't have a special name tag on them, and you're not paying $150. So wrapping up this video, I wanted to show you today some alternatives to getting some high pressure air systems and how basically they're filled. A lot of people that don't know anything about high pressure air or about PCPs, they say, you know, why don't you just take your tank down to the gas station for 50 cents you can fill it up. I mean, they have no clue on what it takes to fill up one of these tanks. Plus the compressor systems are not that readily available. But I just wanted to show you today how they're filled and some effective ways to get alternate high-pressure systems. This bottle right here I bought off of eBay, off of a fire supplier, a company who sells fire equipment and high-pressure systems. What happens is when fire departments get grant money, they buy new bottles, they trade their old ones in. I bought this bottle for $85, free shipping, and I got it hydro tested at a local shop who does the fire department and SCUBA tanks for $15. So I have $100 tied up in this tank, and with a good hydro, it's got 5 years worth of life in it. So, and I built this regulator system for under $50, maybe $45. So for less than $150, I've got a high pressure 4,500 PSI tank that I can get 60, 70 fills on a Marauder for under $150. If I would have bought this tank commercially, I would have paid through a pellet gun company. I would have paid maybe $700, $800. So we're saving that $600. That's a Marauder 25 plus a nice Hawk Aeromax EV scope. So I mean, you do the math, you figure out what's in your budget. I have, kids, they shoot. My spouse shoots, so I mean, I have 4 or 5 people shooting off of one bottle. So that's why I have a couple. So depends on what you're shooting. If you're shooting a Discovery, you get 100 and 200 fills off of it. It only has a 173 cc reservoir. You get into the Air Arms S510, it's got almost a 350 reservoir, and you only get 20 usable shots on a 25, so you're going to really burn through the air. You're only going to get maybe 60 fills with that. So you have to figure out what gun you're shooting, how much air you need, At the end of this video, I'll show some pictures of the calculators I use, and I'll show the links to the Crosman where you can put in your data, and you do the math. I hope you liked the video. If you liked the video, please subscribe. And I have a bunch more coming out. I have a lot of more ideas. So please hit subscribe, and comment. I'd like to hear some feedback. Put 2 other videos up, and I'd like to hear what you guys think. Thanks for watching.